President of Liberty University. It is the largest Christian university in the world. He is a Donald Trump supporter. And Jerry, I appreciate your taking the time tonight. I want to begin with the breaking news here from the New York Times, publishing a story just within the past half hour. And in this story, two women saying Donald Trump touched them inappropriately. One of them, just in case you haven't yet heard it, I wanted to just read you the quote of what Jessica Leeds says happened to her on a first-class flight. She says, Jerry, 45 minutes after takeoff, she recalled Mr. Trump lifted the armrest and began to touch her. According to Ms. Leeds, Mr. Trump grabbed her breasts and tried to put his hand up her skirt. He was like an octopus, she said. His hands were everywhere. She fled to the back of the plane. It was an assault. What's your reaction to this, Jerry?
Well, of course, I don't know anything about these reports, but I do know that the most recent breaking news is the Trump campaign is denying that any of those allegations are true, and they are very, very upset with the New York Times about launching an attack like this and to doing it so late in the campaign. And it's I take him at his word. I think he's a good man. I know the Donald Trump of today. I know that his first major hire was to bring Mike Pence on as his vice presidential candidate. And he spoke at Liberty University today, and he had 10,000 evangelical Christian young people cheering for him, gave him 5 standing ovations. And that's the Donald Trump I know, somebody who would choose somebody like Michael Pence to be his running mate. I think he's been through a change in the last 4 or 5 years. I think he's been influenced strongly by his children, by his grandchildren, and I don't think he's the man he used to be. I think Dr. James Dobson, one of the most respected evangelicals of the last 4 decades, said yesterday that Jesus said, "He who is without sin cast the first stone." And he said, "I'm more concerned about America's future than I am Donald Trump's past." And I agree with that. I think we have to be worried about Hillary Clinton and these email revelations, how she
So Jerry, let me just I understand your point, but I want to ask you more about this, because I just want to understand. Look, he has told you that these things didn't happen. Just to be clear, the reason these women came forward to the New York Times was because Anderson Cooper asked Donald Trump 3 times whether what he said on the video was something that he actually did. It took him 3 times to actually say no. When they heard that, they felt it was a lie. And so that's why they came forward with their stories. They came forward because they say he lied on Sunday night. If he has lied to you, if he really did these things, is there any forgiving it? Grabbing a woman's breasts, grabbing women's genitals, kissing multiple women without their consent. Is that something you forgive to the extent that you say this person can be president of the United States?
It's not up to me to forgive anybody. I'm not Jesus Christ. It's only Jesus who can forgive, and he can forgive anybody, all of us. We're all redeemable. And like I said, Jesus was accused of being a friend of sinners, and when he was here on earth. And it's not up to us to forgive. It's up to us to decide who would be the best president of the United States, who would take the right position on the issues to make America great again, to bring us back to financial health, bring us back to a place of position in the world, to appoint the right justices to the Supreme Court. That's our only job as Christians, is to be good citizens, to do what Jesus said. Jesus said, render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's. That means be a good citizen. Choose the person, not who would be a great pastor, not who would be a great priest if you're a Catholic, but somebody who will be the best president of the United States.
You have made this point.
Not who would be a great pastor, not who would be a great priest if you're a Catholic, but somebody who will be the best president of the United States.
You have made this point that you're not electing a pastor, but I do just want to get an answer from you directly about how you feel about this. If these things happened, would you still support him? Would you still vote for him if these things
I can't
happen?
answer a hypothetical. I can't answer a hypothetical question. You're saying if he murdered somebody, would I forgive him? That's like asking
these are allegations. These are women saying it with their names. I've been open about this. I want to say it again. I've known him for a long time. I've never experienced anything like this from him. He's been professional. I do know someone very well who did get kissed by Donald Trump without his consent. That was in 2010. So yes, I'm giving you a hypothetical because these women are coming forth and telling their story, and he says it isn't true. But I'm saying to you, if what they say is true, does Jerry Falwell Jr. vote for Donald Trump?
I'm going to vote for Donald Trump because I believe he's the best qualified to be president of the United States. And I'm not going to say anything to besmirch the character of any of these women. It's the heat of an election. It's 4 weeks away from Election Day, and everybody's in a frenzy, and so we have to keep that in mind. The New York Times is very anti-Trump, and I believe the statement that was just released. They absolutely deny all the allegations, but that's not the point. The point is, what about the Donald Trump of today? Is he a changed man? I think he is. He is taking all the right positions on all the issues. He will do what's best for America as president. And Hillary Clinton has admitted that she has different positions in public than she does in private. Okay. She's in Haiti. She gave her friends who donated to her foundation contracts to rebuild the country after the earthquake. She's colluded with the Justice Department in her email scandal. She'll do anything to avoid talking about the issues.
Jerry.
And when she talks about the issues with Donald Trump, she loses every time.
I will say, though, one of the reasons people listen to you is because you are a man of faith. You are a man who talks about spiritual journeys. There are a lot of people who look to you to see what you say about these issues. And Donald Trump, when you say he's a changed man, I want to understand more about what you are saying exactly. Because here he is. I'm just going to play 3 things he said. The date on these: 2015, 2013, and 2 weeks ago in 2016. Here's Donald Trump.
You could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever.
You've called women you don't like pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
You dropped to your knees. It must be a pretty picture you dropped into your knees.
She gained a massive amount of weight, and it was a real problem.
Is that a changed man? I mean, are you comfortable with those things as the very influential Christian leader that you are?
I'm a college president. I'm an attorney. He has his own style. He has his own way of saying things, and he's a New York businessman. He grew up in a different culture than I did. What sounds raunchy to me might not sound raunchy to him, but the point is, I think he is a changed man. I think he has seen the pain of the American people. I think the reason that he has come so far in this campaign, in this election, is because he is not for the elitist. He's for the average American. And I think he's, I think he's got his flaws like all of us, but all of us are sinners, every single one of us. And it's hard for me to say that my sin is any better than Donald Trump's sin or anybody else's sin. That's not, Jesus, the Bible teaches that we're all sinners, we all need forgiveness, and, to me it's that simple.
Because I guess what I really am trying to get my arms around to understand this better, Jerry, from where you're coming from. If these things happened, he would be a serial sexual predator. That would be what that is. If these things happened.
I haven't even heard the accusations, but I have seen the denial. I noticed you had me scheduled to come on earlier, and you moved me to 7:30 because you knew this was coming out. But that's okay.
I actually didn't know it was coming out, but I want everyone to know why we moved it. It was because the piece ahead of you wasn't going to be cut in time to pre-tape you. So I wanted to make sure you the whole thing before you came on. So that's why it actually came from me directly. I wanted to move you to 7:30 live.
I'll take your word for that. But I just really, I'm so impressed with the Donald Trump that I know now. The Donald Trump of 5-10 years ago, even 2 or 3 years ago, may have been a different person. I didn't know him well then, but I can tell you I've watched his relationship with his family. I've watched how he treats his employees. But the bigger point is he's going to appoint the right justices to the Supreme Court. He's going to control immigration. He's going to bring our country back to a position of strength again, and that's why I'm supporting Donald Trump.
All right. Well, Jerry
John F. Kennedy. I don't know who. I don't know who was a worse womanizer. I don't know who assaulted more women, John F. Kennedy or Bill Clinton. But I can tell you, John F. Kennedy did the right things. He cut taxes. He brought prosperity. And I would vote for John F. Kennedy again if he were on the ballot today because of his conservative leadership. It's not about, I hate to say it, we're not electing a pastor. I mean, I've said it so many times. We're not electing a pastor. We're electing a president. And that's what we need to keep our eyes on. And our country is going to suffer if we get sidetracked on these rabbit trails about, is this person a good person, is that person a good person? It's not about that. It's about what are their positions on the issues, and we can't get Hillary to focus on the issues because she doesn't want to go there.
All right. Well, Jerry Falwell, I appreciate your take.